Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We were doing the Sutra Vahini the last few weeks. Now we will take a intermission to do the Guru Poornima study guide, and we will resume the Sutra Vahini, the Brahma Sutras, after we finish this study guide. This study guide mainly is an offering of gratitude to our Guru and God, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. We compiled about 9 letters which Swami has written, like 9 gems. So this 9 is, very special number in our scriptures. 9 is called Brahma Sakya. So you do 9 anything, you multiply 9 by 9, 9 by 2, it stays the same. That means Brahman is never changing, that is indicates. Whereas other, you can see 8 and other numbers, they go on either multiply more or less, they will become diminish. So that is why this 9 is called Brahma Sankhya. And also this 9 is, Swami also you have seen many times, so he gives the Navaratna rings which are 9 to devote 9 types of devotion. So 9 is very important. Bhagavatam is very clearly said to reach God, these 9 types of devotion. We have heard that Shravanam, listening, Kirtanam, singing his glory, Vishnu Smaranam, remembrance, and Padasevanam, and worshipping the feet, Archanam, the ritualistic worship, and Vandanam, salutations. And the next 3 stages are very, very, take you closer and closer to the realization. First is Dasyam, attitude of being a servant of God. That is, at doing service, at all the time anxious, enthusiastic to do service to God, service to His creation. Next, develop a friendship with God. So Dasyam, the best, greatest example is Hanuman, who always wanted to serve Lord Rama at all time. And Sakyam, to have friendship like Arjuna or Kuchela. And finally, Atmanivedanam, completely surrender to God. You don't exist. Completely, Lord, thine will be done. Like King Bali, he didn't care. He gave away his kingdom, his own life as an offering to God. Like Bali, Lakshmanas, the people who are completely examples of surrender to God. These are the 9 types of devotion. Actually, to exemplify, you read the Shirdi Sai Charita, there is actually Shirdi Baba, the day he was leaving his body, his very close devotee is called Lakshmi Bai Shinde. He just gives her the 9 coins, which they still preserve that. So, which represents also 9 types of devotion. So really, this 9 is number, and so we chose the 9 letters. So we will start as it goes. We will discuss the letters what Swami has written one by one, and let us proceed, Krishna. So the first letter is what Swami wrote.
The introduction is offered with love and gratitude at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Letters from Swami, an infinite flow of love and wisdom. Swami has given a multitude of beautiful discourses often to thousands of people at a time. He has also taken the time to share his guidance with individuals, couples, and small groups through personal letters. These 9 letters give us a taste of his guidance so we can know in our hearts that the same personal wisdom from our Guru is available to every person at any time or place. First letter. There was no one to know who I am. There was no one to know who I am till I created this world at my pleasure. With one word, immediately mountains rose up, immediately rivers started running, earth below and sky over its head, oceans, seas, lands, and watersheds, sun, moon, and desert sands sprang up from nowhere to prove my existence. Came all forms of human beings, mankind, beasts, and birds flying. Speaking, hearing, and all powers were bestowed upon them under my orders. The first place was granted to mankind, and my knowledge was placed in his mind. Come one, come all. Let us not be ungrateful called. Let us faithfully serve Sai and love him, love him, love him. With blessings, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I think this is something similar to what we saw in Sutra Vahini. The basis, the foundation is the creator. And all are the creation. So he's talking about the creation. But we should not forget about the basis, the foundation, or God. And he gave the knowledge. He says that he gives the knowledge. He gave the knowledge to the human, mankind. So it's up to us to always connect to him. So unity in diversity is whatever we see is all again the basis is God, and we should constantly practice the presence of God and realize that it is God in different forms. It's a constant practice that will help us to see, and Swami is reminding us.
So here people, a lot of us think about creation. What's creation? How was the creation done? So just with one word, that's why even in the Bible it is said, in the beginning was the Word, and Word was God. So just the power of the word. That is why we hear, there are different theories, Big Bang theory, the theory where first one is Om, the Pranava. Just with that, the whole creation started. And here, Swami, that is the word. By his word, the whole creation started. If you go to the Vedas, Taittiriya Upanishad says, how did this? Atmanam Akash Sambhuta. Because of Atma, Atma is same as Brahman. Brahman is attributeless, formless, the reality, ultimate reality. So that is the Brahman. So from that came Akasha. First the creation sky came. Akasha Vayu. From the sky, the space, came the air. Vayor Apaha. So from the air came this water. That means all these oceans. What Swami is talking about, the oceans, rivers, Apa. Apo Agnihi. So actually it is first
Agni.
Agni. So Akashat Vayuhu. So from I think, and Vayor Agni. From the air comes the Agni. That is the fire. So there is the one which is responsible for the illumination of the whole universe. Agne Apaha. That is then from that comes all these waters, the rivers, oceans. Apo Prithvi. After that comes this whole lands. So first there was only water. That's all. If you read in the scriptures, this whole thing was mass of water. Then from that land came Prithvi. Prithivyo Oshadhi. Then once the land come, what will be? Then the trees, herbs, plants, everything came. Oshadhiyo, then Purusha, then people, animals, birds, everything came. So this is the sequence. It is described. You can go to the Vedas, Taittiriya Upanishad, the Upanishad Sangraha, that is where it is called, how the creation came. And you read the Bible in the Genesis. Amazing, same thing. So the God wished, let me create. So then he, let there be light, he said. Actually, you can say Om is light. The other day we talked about Paranjyoti, this divine light. That is divine light, Om, Atma, Brahman, they're all same. So let there be light, he said. And then he said, let there be sky, and let there be oceans. You read the whole Genesis, almost the same, because the truth is one. So that is how the creation came. So actually, in the beginning, all these things came, these elements, 5 elements, as we talked about, space, air, then fire, water, and then the earth. Actually, from this came the what are they called 5 tanmatras. That means 5 jnanendriyas. All these are related to how our human body functions. That is why he says, I put the highest knowledge in the human being. That means from space, the shabda came, the knowledge to how to hear. That is why the shabda. And from vayu, the air, came the sensation of touch. That's why when you feel touch, that is because of the give. These are called panch tanmatras. We all feel 5 jnanendriyas. And from the agni, the thing, they came the sight, to be able to see things. And then from apah, then apah came what? Apah came taste. So we want taste, water, right? Without that, you cannot taste. And from Prithvi, the earth, came the sense of smell. So these major things, 5 our perceptions, which is the sight, hearing, and taste, touch, and smell. All these 5 are related to these 5 elements. So that is why somebody said if you are cursed with one element, you will lose one sense perception. Like in smell, you lose the Prithvi is not in favor of you. Same thing, sound you have problem, the space is not in favor of you, hearing problem, sight problem, Agni. So all the elements need to be pleased. And then comes the highest, even Bible says the same thing. I created human being in my own image. That means God said it. And here also Swami is telling this scripture say, he gave the highest importance, the highest thing to human being. Because there are so many beings in the world. Actually, we say there are how many 6.8 million species of beings are there. So of them, the pinnacle, the greatest creation is human birth. That is why it repeatedly is said in scriptures, Jantuna Narajanma Durlabham. Of all births, be born as a human being is only sign of grace. That is why Adi Shankara says in his Viveka Chudamani, this is only by grace of God you are born as human beings. We take it so lightly. But if you don't make use of it, let it very clear, because then you may revert back to previous lower manifestations. Because even gods want to be born as human beings. It is said, Lord Krishna says that in Gita, Kshine Punye Martyaloka Vishanti. Even gods, when their punya is gone, they will come back and be born as human beings. When you have too much punyam, like in this life, we do a lot of good things, then you'll go to heaven. So because you want a good merit, like you have a lot of bank balance, you'll go to a nice vacation spot. But you do a lot of bad deeds, you go to lower ranks. You may be born as a frog or a snake, or you may be born as a rat or a cat, or you may be worse, you may be even born as maybe as a stone or a tree. So this is very much recorded. If you go to Bhagavatam, it is there. There's even Gandharva, celestial beings, they were born as trees. and then Lord Krishna comes and releases them. The people who are born as a huge python. And same thing in Shirdi Tirtha, you can see so many stories. Somebody born as a frog and a snake, somebody were born as two goats. So you will be reversing back. So the main thing is make best use of that. So at least you are born as a human being, but the best thing is not to be born. Because even if you do good karma, you'll go on to the heaven and be a demigod. But then once you finish your quota, your punyam, you have to come back again. Only way completely to be born out, go out of the cycle of birth and death is doing the thing, dedicating all actions. Lord, I am not the doer, I am not attached, it is only you. Then karma won't bind you. That is the secret that only we can do that in the human birth. That is why he says, I put that knowledge in the human mind. Wisdom, hey, I am getting caught up in this whole cycle of birth. That is why Lord Buddha, forget it, this is too much. Kshanikam, dukkham, dikkham, this part. Even Lord Krishna says, anityam asukam. I said, this is too much. So unless somebody wants to repeat, enjoys repeating the cycle, yes, you can repeat this, no problem. But it says, okay, enough, we have seen enough, why to go through that? Then you need to make a decision and do that, get rid of that. Because all the beings, there are four things they say is common. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunamcha. All these things, any animal, even birds and bees, mammals, everything, human beings, there is nothing special. There is eating, drinking, sleeping, being fearful of things, and procreation, having next generation. These are all common to all animals. But what is the speciality of human being is this knowledge of truth, knowledge of God. So that is, if to be world called human being, that is why Swami says, you need to really practice this. That is why Swami says the human values he introduced. Only we are humans if you practice human values. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Himsa. Truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. Otherwise, in the shape, we are human beings, but not human beings. That is why Swami 7.8 billions on this planet Earth. Most of them are living worse than animals, but by God's grace, we have that, He put that inside. Hey, better we live like human beings, practicing the human values. So at least three things Swami says, if he live as human, not as animal qualities, impulsive qualities, getting involved in sense pleasures, lower pleasures. And demonic is worse. So you may think, oh, I'm not a demon. Who a demon means they are very bad people, kitten. If you really feel, we feel guilty that we may be having some qualities. If you read this chapter called Daiva Sura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, there's a chapter. Who is demonic? Who is divine? So he says, who is the demonic? Dambho, Darpo, Abhimanascha, Krodha, Parushyameva Sajnanam. Anybody who is ostentatious, shows up big banners, try to put his big name and big thing and show off, put in the newspaper, put in the guess go on like a lot of politics. These people do. That is the first quality of demon, Dambho. It is ostentatious. Second, Darpa, pride. Hey, just treat everybody as very less and menial. He's very proud of his position, power, money, and all that. And Dambo Dharpo, Krodha, that guy, because he is in power and he has got all that, he will be very upset, angry, and just screams, yells at people. Dambo Dharpo, Krodha. And Abhimanascha. So just he says, yes, so much attachment to only his power, his relatives, his friends, his things, too much attachment. He has got not that broader outlook. And Parushamevacha, he is very rude and hurts people. And finally, he is Ajnanancha, he is ignorance. He doesn't know what is true. He thinks he's like a frog in a well. He thinks he is the everything. He's the center of attraction. So if you have any of those qualities, that means you are demonic qualities. We need to be very careful. So that is one thing we is telling. And another thing is, here, how do you then, God has said, He put this knowledge in the mind. What can you do? There are two things He gave the answer of this. bottom. That is the ultimate. But it say, don't let us not be ungrateful call. We should have gratitude every day. So even you do some favor to me, this is ingratitude, Swami said, is the greatest sin. Somebody did you some favor anytime, never forget that. Always be grateful to anybody. So, but God does everything for us. So it is very important to be grateful preferably Sarvada, Sarvada, Sarvakalyeshu, Harichandra. Always think about him. Lord, in the morning you get up, oh, I could wake up. Otherwise, sometimes you may not even wake up. First be grateful, oh, Swami, I have woken up. When you take a bath, think about him. And when you are eating, think about, oh, you gave this food. Sometimes you may not be able to even have food. Some people are telling right now, in Sri Lanka, the people are miserable. So many people can't even get a 1 meal a day. Some pets in Africa. So just be grateful that we have the food. Then we're able to have some work to do, and then be able to sleep. Have this, all these things we should be grateful to God. So that is what the prayer is, just by the communication to God, just express gratitude. That's why three things when God created, he says, one is don't be ungrateful call. Second is serve him, faithfully serve him, not just serve him as routine or mechanically, but with faith. Oh Lord, so much opportunity you gave me to serve. Service could be anything. We already said service could be giving food, shelter, and clothes to people, but even smile at people. Or people, somebody going through depression, some problems, everybody has that. Then give some encouraging, kind words, loving words. That is a great service. And the greatest service is talking about God. So because that is the ultimate. Food, one time you finish eating, again you will be hungry next step. You will hear. And you give money, you may lose, again get. But once you have the knowledge of God, that is the greatest gift. That is why we are grateful to the saints, sages, avatars, because they give the ultimate, the jnana dhanam. That is the ultimate gift we can give. So talking about God, his teachings, that is the great service. That is what we should show. Second is serve, serve, serve. That is what Swami says, the best way to love God is love all and serve all. This service is nothing but love in action. And finally, Swami said, amazing emphasis, love him, love him, love him. 3 times he repeats that to show the importance. Because 3 times everything in scriptures, our Hindu scriptures, people do everything 3. So I have a habit, anything is just 3 times. That way we do 3 ohms. And because everything is related to 3 states, we Jagrata, wakeful, and we go to dream, and then sleep. 3 avasthas we have. And we have 3 gunas, sattva, tamas, and rajas. So everything is 3. And we have 3 dehas, sthula, sukshma, and karana sarira. That is gross, subtle, and causal body. And also we have 3 shaktis, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. That is to be able to have sankalpa, have the knowledge, and to be able to action. So many things is in Trai. Even Vedas originally started is called Trai. Rug, Yajur, Sama. Atharvana Veda came much later. That is why Swami's house in Bangalore, Brindavan, is called Trai Brindavan, because Trai is for 3 Vedas. So everything is, this 3 is very, very important. That's why Swami said, love him, love him, love him. So the whole thing is, if you read anything, we may forget, only remember 2 words. Love, service. That is it will take. But always be grateful to God that he gave this knowledge. And Swami has written, and is very much told in scriptures, brothers and sisters, I want to repeat this. To be able to think about God is also his grace. Without his grace, even if you want to think, you cannot think. One time Swami warned one of the devotees, that guy was not listening and feeling. If you really don't behave, he didn't say he will punish him with it. You won't be even able to think about me. So that is the worst punishment. It is like you are living, but you are dead because you cannot think about God. You may not realize that. So to be thinking about God, it is only by God's grace. To come to a satsang like this, think about God, listen to his bhajans, do the meditation. That is the greatest sign of the grace. There are so many people who want to spend an evening talking about God, listening to the bhajan, so that God puts that desire. That is God's grace. And then to be able to do his work, to do work for him in his organization, work in the society and serve thing, that is another sign of grace. That is why one great Swami from Ramakrishna order said, the last word in spirituality is to be able to work for God. Because only many are called, in the Bible said, few are chosen. Many people say they are devotees of God, but very few people dedicate their life, time, and energy just to be able to serve God. That is given for few, and that is His grace, because He says He prepares them to do His mission. That is why you see the apostles in Jesus' life. There's Paul and Peter and James, Thomas, like that, and even same Buddhist monks like Ananda. So all those great masters in every avatar in Sri Ramakrishna had many great disciples like Vivekananda, Brahmananda, 16 disciples he had, who subsequently, that is how the mission started. So these are all the people who propagated the love and teachings of the Lord. So three things important: how the creation came, and value of the human birth. So we need to make use of the human birth. If you cannot make use of the human birth, life is wasted. Particularly when the avatars come, we know them, we need their teachings to make the best use of it. For that, only three things: be grateful every day, think about Him, Lord. You gave me this life, you gave me the food, you gave me the sleep, you gave me the family and where to live. So there are millions of people who don't have those basic necessities. If you really, particularly we working in the organization, we know so many places in the world, like in African continent, many countries, Latin America, many countries like Venezuela, Argentina, we hear the stories, basic thing they don't have. And same thing now it is happening some parts of Asia. So just we should be grateful and see how we can serve the people who are less fortunate by donating our time, resources, and whichever way we have, and then love Him, that is God. That is because that is the greatest commandment. Then asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? Love thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. And Swami said, the ultimate thing is this parabhakti. This is supreme love for life's love's sake, like Gopikas had. They didn't care for anything else. Just love, what all it is. I love Lord. Why do you want to love? Most of us, oh, so that He give me promotion in job. So I'm doing, oh, no, I'm so having back pain, headache, or this problem. Get rid of my illness, please. Who are my family is having my children, grandchildren, they have, just let them do well. So this is all what is called bargaining. This is called, but they are also bhaktas. Lord Krishna says, Chaturvida bhajante mam, jana sukha, artho jijnasa arthat. They're all people pray to Him for relief of physical illness, mental ailments, and then success in life. But the real one is love for love's sake. The greatest example is Gopikas and some of these great saints as sages like Mirabai and Tyagaraja, Surdas, Annamacharya, and then some Christian mystics like Brother Lawrence, Sister Teresa of Avila, and Sufi mystic. There are so many people there. It's just the divine romance, their love for love's sake. They're so much in rapture. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one of the one who goes on dancing with joy, thinking about Him. Their whole body shakes and their hair stands up, their voice chokes, tears roll down their cheeks. That just thinking about God, because that is the most dear to them. So this is a very beautiful just to remember this. Okay, Krishna, will go to the
But for
next
more
slide.
common people, asking God is totally fine because
Yes.
at least that way they can connect and slowly it will get the realization that it is He is everything.
Good point. Actually, instead of when you want to ask, instead of asking somebody else a favor, ask God, because He is the one who gives everybody. Actually, there is a nice story. Swami said that when this man, he wanted a favor. I think it is Birbal or somebody wanted to go to think he wanted some favor, your land or some. He was not doing well. He was going to Akbar to have him give, because he was the Shan Shah, he was the emperor. He goes there and he was praying, Lord, give me this, give me this. Oh, I'm begging from a beggar, because he is begging from God. Why don't you go to the ultimate? He is giver for even the emperor. So why should I go to a beggar? So everybody, whoever gets it, he gets from God. So that is why there's Swami says that guy goes to see, oh, he is praying to God to have his prosperity, his success in his family or in kingdom and anything. So that is where we need to have go to God for ultimate, but nothing wrong in asking, because He's like our divine mother and father. Nothing wrong. That is why Swami said, I will give you what you want, so that ultimately you want what I came to give. That is liberation itself. Good. Okay, we'll continue next week.
Thank
Sai
you.
Ram.